Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to my Connecting Conversation channel. I'm Chang Xiang here. Today, I'm very happy to have an invited guest. His name is Jun Han. Hi, Jun Han. Yes,
Hi,
Jun Han is a very
hi
creative
everyone.
person. Yes. And I would like him to perhaps say a little bit, share with us more about himself. What does he do in the world out there? Jun Han, over to you.
Hi, Chang. My name is Jun Han, and I'm a visual storyteller. I do visual storytelling for both my consumers as well as for my clients. What I
Yep,
do is I take ideas,
yep,
and ideas are often coming in the form of words, right? Whether it's in podcasts or books or conversations or videos, you hear them. What
yep.
I do is I illustrate them in a way that is clear, you get it immediately, and then very often, because I use visual metaphors, people get the aha moment and they realize, oh, I never thought of it this way. Oh, I needed to hear this reminder. So that's the effect that my illustrations have for both personal development content that I publish on social media, as well as content for clients for their educational or marketing purposes or sales purposes.
I see. Okay, so that's very interesting because we often heard that pictures tells 1,000 words. So in this case, when you help your clients to simplify all these images, I'm sure the audience will capture it immediately. For today, perhaps we want to find out a little bit more about yourself, like how did you get this started? Because visual is something very interesting, and I understand that there's not a lot of people doing this in Singapore. Am I right?
There are a
Yes,
few,
there are a
but
few.
I think not enough. Not
Not
enough
enough.
people do it.
Okay, so you are the leader of this visual storytelling person. So perhaps you can share with us a little more. How did you get this started, and why didn't you go out to work for someone, or is it because of passion, or is it something that really love to help people? Yeah. How do you get started?
Yeah, what I'm doing now is a result of a few strands of things and factors that come together, right? Like it's a combination, a weave of different things that happened at the right time and right place. And
Yep.
then I come to what I do. So you said I'm like a leader in this, maybe, but there are different forms of visual storytelling. Some people are live artists, they take notes at conferences. That's another kind. Some people are sketch noters, they do like visual mind maps with
Mm,
illustrations to go with the mind map bullet points and all that. So mine is really just uh if there's one picture that you're looking at, it's just focus on one idea. I let the idea have the space and kind of like giving it the spotlight or the stage floor for it to express itself.
I
So
see.
how I got into this is I started with writing.
Mm,
I was reading books and then I thought, okay, if I'm taking notes, highlighting and writing my own notes, why would I want to let it just sit in my notebook or my note-taking app? It's just
yeah.
gonna be on like a digital or physical bookshelf and nobody's gonna benefit from it. I will even forget about it after like 2 months after reading the book.
Yes.
So I thought, okay, one perhaps tiny way to make it a little bit more useful is to just publish it on the web now.
Mm,
So if I found the idea useful, right, it's fair to say out of all the millions and billions of people in the world, someone out there will find the same point useful. Maybe that will
mm,
lead them to read the book.
yep.
Maybe that will help them solve whatever problem. So that's how I started.
Mm,
But we all know that there's so many readers and writers in the world, right? And
mm,
on so many social media platforms, there are such eloquent speakers and writers. The result of that is that nobody paid me any attention because I'm just
mm,
another writer amongst so many people. But the fun thing about doing projects like this or having a hobby like this is eventually you discover new ways, better ways, different ways of doing things. And that's what happened. I discovered my style of illustrations online. People who take an idea and illustrate it in a way that's clear and simple and creative. And then it just gets the message across so brilliantly, like in two
yep.
seconds. I look at the picture, less than 5 seconds, I understand what the message is. And it
Yep.
even makes me want to read on more. So I thought, okay, this is powerful. This is so much more intuitive and interesting than my old way of doing things, like writing bullet points or paragraphs summarizing books. So I went to do this. I picked up a course. I learned it and started publishing. To good
Wow.
effect, people liked it. People shared it, and so I thought, okay, hey, this is doing better than my writing.
Yeah.
Uh, it's a different skill. I just wanted to hone that skill and get better at it. So in 90 days, in 6 months, in a year, I did it. Publish a new illustration every day to a point that people
Wow.
started asking me, hey, can you do this for my business? Can I pay you to do this for my business?
Oh.
So unintended effect, unintended outcome was people started reaching out to me. people started sharing my work first, lah. Otherwise,
Yeah.
people from across. My first client was from, I believe, Australia.
Oh,
I don't know the guy. I would not have come across the guy. He wouldn't have come across me. I was an employee in corporate sales before, and nobody would ask me to do what I do if I
yeah.
didn't publish mine. Yeah, so I just went along,
Yeah.
and eventually more clients came, and to a point where
Oh,
the opportunity came, retrenchment happened, and I said, okay, I have something that is already proven, right? People
yeah.
have paid me for it. Let's see if I can, not just do this as a side thing. It
Yeah.
was nice to have like, the privilege to eat a little bit better food or drink
Correct.
whatever coffee when I like it. But let's
Correct.
see if I can turn this into a full-time business. And that's what I've been doing for 1 plus 2 years.
2 years.
And so yeah, that's the whole long story of it.
I see. Wow. Oh, that's amazing. So JunHan, when he was sharing, he mentioned these were new ways of thinking. And I've heard a lot of people who are in the creative industries. They like to explore and discover new ways of doing things. So I've not asked you this question, but now I'm going to throw you a challenge. In this overwhelming information world that we are living in, especially with AI, artificial
Mm.
intelligence, especially with lots of information, across all levels for students, for adults, for people out there. So do you think this kind of skill set or even streaming down information is it very very important for people out there to have it?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I said new ways of thinking, right? But it's
Yeah.
not entirely new. Like
Okay.
people before me have discovered this way of thinking. It's just new to me. It might be
Oh,
new to you. It might be new to your audience,
I
whoever that
see.
may be. It could be your
Yeah.
colleagues, family, bosses, clients, whatever, right? Your audience is whoever you talk to. So
Mm,
if you can express the same idea, could be a common, everybody knows that idea. You can express it in a refreshing way, in a different way. People have not seen it before. Then they're going to say, hey, you're onto something. And then
yeah.
they'll pay more attention to you, give you more
Correct.
time. And that's how you get, let's say if you're working in a business where you're doing sales, right?
Mm,
That's where you get people to look at you and say, okay, let me take this guy more seriously. Let me hear what else he has to say. Let me
correct.
reassess him if he's missing him.
Yeah.
And talk about AI as well. It's the best time. In fact, people are going to get lazy because it
Mm,
feels like, why do I have to think so hard? Just throw in the information. It can summarize for me. Yes, it can. And it will get even better at summarizing. But it's going to miss a few points. It's going to miss the context, right? Like let's say you have the information, but you've got to apply it to whatever context you're in, be it
right.
for your own organization, your clients, or for specific people in the organization with specific quirks. You can't train
Mm,
the talk to, say, a stubborn person but enjoys fiction
yeah.
or enjoys sci-fi, right?
Yeah.
That's where you come in with your whole human self and your whole life experience to say, okay, how do I put this in a way that fits that guy? What kind of metaphors can I come up with?
Right.
And people are short on attention. You can't just throw them irrelevant data. Even if you use AI to summarize, you've got to pick up the more important ones, the most appealing ones, to at the very least use those more powerful points first, right? You
Yeah.
can't just let AI do everything. So you've got to
Yes.
think, you've got to really know what works, and I think it's a human touch to this. Yeah.
Yes. Well said, Junhan. The human side is also very, very important. I guess this thinking process that you have is something that you picked up along the way. It's not something. Is it something that you learn along in your school days? Like kind of creativity thinking differently. Is it something or something that because you have come across this visual storytelling, and then you started to sort of think a bit differently. So which one comes first? Which one comes first? Are you born, or are you when you were young you want to question a lot of things, or is it because when you start to do this piece of work, you start to analyze or start to discover more? Which comes first? Just curious.
Uh, well, they probably overlap lah. I
Mm.
couldn't really tell you what comes first, like, but chronologically, if there's any sense to it, I guess my training in psychology and sociology in uni helps. And even
Ah,
in secondary school, JC, I'm a more humanities person. I
I
find that
see.
I can substantiate a point much better than I can do math. So I can
Oh,
remember facts, but I know how to argue for success, right? There's a funny story
uh,
that I like to tell. Was
sure.
it O levels or A levels?
Uh,
But it's geography, right? And I
uh,
knew O levels. I remember now O levels. Geography exam, and geography is as you know, is essays. You
mm,
have to give your point, substantiate with examples to
mm,
prove that it's real or the concept is real.
mm.
And so you don't just have theory, like you have like evidence.
Yep.
So creativity, this is where my first early sparks of creativity came in. Now I knew the point exists. I've studied it in the textbook, but I cannot remember the case study. I know
Whoa.
that I've read the case study, but exam stress, right? In the
Yeah.
moment you have 1 hour to write your essay, just cannot remember what the case study is. I just made it up.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
So I made the logic flow very sensible, right?
uh,
Like I created the whole fake mountain and then I substantiated it. I said, I would love to tell you where I picked this up from, but I don't exactly remember.
uh,
I remember watching it on National Geographic. Now I just
uh,
wrote almost exactly what I just said, right? Maybe
oh,
phrasing is a little bit different, but it's very conversational.
yeah.
I would say it's creative in my early days because
Mm.
I know that I need to get the result, but I don't have the actual thing. So can I
Correct.
get that result, right? So that's I
Oh,
think creativity is how do you find it? How do you get to the solution in a different way? Well, another way to look at creativity is problem solving, and I
yeah.
think that tracks better in the corporate world, right? How do you solve problems? You got to be
Yes.
creative. Like the old methods won't work. You have to find a different one, a new one,
Correct.
maybe a better one, or maybe
Yeah.
just slightly different. So that's it. Uh, Humanities person, social science trained in university from a bachelor's degree. Then I
Mm.
went into sales. I think that's also a very powerful point because when you're selling stuff, nobody has time for you. Nobody wants to take the flyer on the street, right? You
Yeah.
walk past so many people giving out flyers, you just pretend they're not there. How do you
True.
get that attention? That's what I'm
Mention.
trained in my
Ah,
sales career. Like what's important to these people? I don't want to waste their time. I need to get the message to them. The most powerful point that targets the pain, also targets the pleasure, and gets them to say, hey, there might be something worth looking at in this thing. Yeah.
yeah.
So that factored in a lot in my illustrations for my consumer content as well as client content. How do I get that message across? Not just to tell it, but also to get people to pay attention and say, hey, this is possibly something that would help me. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what people see are illustrations. It looks like art, but it's really a lot about thinking, understanding people's positions, understanding their mindset. Nobody wants to be interrupted, but if I'm going to have to interrupt them with this piece of content, then it better be worth their time. Yeah.
Yes. Right. So yes, it is true. It's not about the images because I do speak and sketch. I know that it's more than the drawing itself. Yeah, and it's because of the illustrations and the thinking behind it. Okay, what can you share a little bit more about the thinking part? Because I know you share a little bit already from your experiences. Perhaps for those who are out there who see illustration only as art, what would you share to them on the thinking part? What else would you share with them besides the maybe a bit of the process? How do you get it out, or is it something that maybe you're walking down the street and the ideas came and then you just roll it down and accumulate it? What was your thinking process like?
Mm. So the way I draw it is just the way it manifests physically. Right? The most powerful thing or the most important thing is how I think about the message. I'll give you
Mm,
an example.
mm,
I had a client, she's a keynote speaker in the US.
yeah.
She said, okay, in the things that I train and I coach, there's
Mm,
this thing about resourcefulness. So can you draw an illustration in your style
okay.
about teach a man to fish instead of giving him the fish, right?
Fish.
It's a
Means
very common.
how to fish instead of what to fish. Is that something like
No, like you know the what's the phrase or idiom?
give a man a fish?
Give a man a fish, he live for a day,
Yeah,
teach him
yeah.
how to fish.
Fish.
He,
You teach it
you
for
know,
life.
feed him for life lah.
Yeah.
So this client of mine was saying that this is about I have a point about resourcefulness and this idiom or this parable fits really well. Can you draw it in my style lah? She basically asked me to
Yes.
draw my style because I've been doing for her for a few other pieces. She
Yeah.
wants a consistent. So I thought, okay, can
Mm,
again, message is really clear, right?
mm,
But here's where I come in as the specialist. I'm
yeah.
thinking everybody else can do that. You search
Correct.
Google, there's 101 picture about this same message. It
Yes.
is so used and so boring that people will hear it and say, yeah, okay, move on. But how do I get people to think about what she said or think about what she just showed on screen and say, yeah, I've never thought of it this way. Let me actually pay attention to
Mm,
this very common idea
mm.
that so common that people have overlooked and not taken seriously.
Oh.
Yeah. What I came up with is okay, the
Mm,
idea of resourcefulness. And you asked about how I think, right?
yes.
So method of association. It's nothing new, right? It might be new to you, but it's been discovered years
It's
ago.
not a
So
lot of people practicing out there, even though it's
yeah, a lot
new.
of people practice, right? But not
Yeah,
enough of the common people practice it. Creative people
correct.
do that. This is something that I teach people. Just apply in your life. Started with the word resourcefulness.
Mm.
What does it mean, right? In context with that story is, can you do it if I don't give it to you, right? And also, what can you do with it, like, or if you don't do it this way, how else can you do it? It's all part of the related to the theme of resourcefulness.
Mm.
And so, what other ways or what other things in life, relatable things, can represent that concept?
Yeah.
Eventually, I ended on paper,
Paper,
right?
okay.
Like, I can fold you a paper plane, but
Mm.
if I give you a paper, do you know how to fold a paper plane, right? That's something that we learned in primary school, how to fold a paper aeroplane.
Mm.
I teach you how to fold one paper aeroplane, you can fold 1 million paper aeroplanes in your lifetime. That fits the
Oh,
requirement of my client resourcefulness. But
uh,
yet, let's take it a step further. One thing I do with my visuals where possible is not
mm.
just to be clear, but also push the boundaries of the message so that people get the sense of discovery.
Mm.
Do with paper. Are you good enough to fold a boat, a paper crane? That's another layer of resourcefulness, right? You can fold plane, but can you fold other things? You can fold all these fixed things, but do you know the principles of origami so that you can fold whatever you want? Can you sit down there
Oh,
with the principles of origami to fold maybe a dragon?
yeah.
Right? If you learn that skill of thinking with paper or folding paper, then that's yet a next level of resourcefulness, right?
Wow.
You're not fixed with the same old recipes like cooking. You can change the recipe a bit, do
Yeah.
something new with the same ingredients. So that's why I came up with a
Mm.
picture with paper, with a crane, plane, a boat,
Wow.
and really represents it. Like, hey, am I giving you a piece of paper? Even if I teach you how to fold a plane, are you resourceful enough to fold other things? Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well said.
Pushing the boundaries, just sitting down there and thinking what back to method of association, what else is related, what else is related, how can I link all these things together?
I
So
see.
that's one of the things that I do.
Wow. So I can say there's lots of thinking behind it also to make the visuals metaphors or visual storytelling to relate to what your customers really have, and so that it can impact or give a lasting impression to the customers, right? So this is something
Mm.
very, very, very interesting.
Amplifying their impact also,
Yeah.
amplifying their impact. So
Amplifying
I've got
impact. Yes, that's the word. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
many of my
Amplify.
clients do great jobs, right? Like
Mm.
they know how to do things, they get great results for the clients, but how do you communicate
Yeah.
that impact? And a
Correct.
lot of it, their clients or prospective clients say, I don't want to work with you, not because they're lousy, not because they can't afford it,
Mm.
but really I feel like it's such a huge challenge to implement the change. For example, software.
Oh.
I want to change my old school software to something new. It looks good, but I'm afraid of the implementation and getting used to something new. So how do you like reduce the gap from where you are and the ideal outcome? How do you reduce the challenge gap? That's the thing I do with my visuals, or to make that challenge feel like, okay, it's worth the pain in this area. Yeah. So
Yeah. So getting
solving.
that message is across itself. So I feel that it needs some balance also with the customer's expectation, right? And yours putting across, because you don't want it to seem like over amplify to the person, right? Something like that. Yes.
Mm.
So this is something very interesting, and I believe it needs a lot of thinking process behind it. So I've seen some of your work in LinkedIn, and it's very, very simple, but then it's actually triggers some kind of thinking to think more about it. So let's make it very, very interesting. So guys, if you have not seen Jun Han's work, do go to his website or LinkedIn and find out, and then you'll be amazed by the message that he illustrates and the way he put it across. It's very, very simple and very, very effective, I must say. Right. So JunHan, now that you're into this, and I'm sure your clients it consists of like speakers, trainers, educators, salesperson, and you share with me it's something like all levels, right? Who
All
some
sorts and all levels. I work with pharmaceutical companies to explain why their medicine will help doctors or why medicine will help patients. I work with advertising software companies
Yep.
to, implement software where it used to be a manual thing. I work with financial advisories to explain why or how you need to invest, the principles of investing and taking care of your own finances. And
Yep.
again, the people you spoke of as well, educators in personal development or coaches
Yep.
or keynote speakers in whatever form. Lah.
Yep.
So yeah, it's
So it's like
all
all levels, including students. I must say, is it?
I have taught students. I've also had the privilege to share what I do and teach professors. I
Oh,
recently
he's
at
professors. Wow, that's
NIE,
so cool. Wow,
the
NIE.
teachers who
Oh,
teach teachers. Yeah, National
ah,
Institute of Education. So that was a fun thing. Yeah.
when was
Yeah.
that? You want to share a bit more? When was that you did it?
That was in late February.
Ah,
Late February. Yeah.
hmm.
So I went to NIE and they gave me a lecture hall.
Oh,
Very nice
lecture.
looking piece. Yeah. So I shared what I do and a few. I mean, I had a 1 hour session, right? So I
Sure.
can't download my brain into you, but I give you a
So
preview.
okay, sitting there were all professors or from NTUs or it?
I've spoken to a few. Some are professors, some are librarians,
Hmm.
some are involved in the corporate or commercial side of NTU and NIE. You know, the strategy or the corporate side. Yeah, so pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
Very cool. Okay.
yeah.
One more question before you go, Jun Han. This is for myself, so or for the audience out there. Can this thinking process that you have be learned in textbooks, or it has to be from experiences that you accumulated, or something that you can say, okay, I go to this, I learn from someone or this, but where if let's say somebody who's new want to learn this kind of thinking process, okay, let's put the visuals part aside first. This thinking process, what would be your advice?
It's both lah. Both. You can pick it up from books. I mean, I progress by learning from books or podcasts or videos, right?
I
So,
see.
but you also have to apply it. It's I've been asked this question: what is
Yeah.
the learning curve? How long does it take, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It really
correct.
depends on how often you practice it, lah. Like, I give you a
Just
book
like
about swim.
martial arts, you practice every day.
Uh, like I give you a book on how to swim. You can read the whole book. You can read the book 5 times, but I throw you in the water. You know how to swim or not? You still have to
True,
go and
true.
practice swimming in
Yeah,
the swimming pool with the calm water, and then try swimming in the sea where it's a bit choppy. Then you really improve, like you grow the muscles, you grow the stamina, you become more creative as you apply and practice it. So
all right.
you know,
Okay, okay. Yes. Okay, just now there was a bit of interruption. Okay, we missed the last part. We missed the last part.
where did
The
I
last
think I
sentence.
think I was talking about the swimming
Oh, swimming. Yes, yes,
metaphor,
yes.
right? Yeah, so you can read the book about how to swim all the techniques 10
Yeah,
times, 20 times, but they put you in the water, you still don't know. So you
correct.
need to practice in like a normal, very quiet swimming pool. You practice in the sea, you go to more choppy waters and you practice. Then you know what your weaknesses are. And through the repetitions, you grow the muscle and the stamina. So same thing with visual thinking. The
Yes.
more you apply that creative muscle, the stronger it gets. I mean, I can do probably ideas now in 5 minutes, or I've had client conversation or client calls where we explore their content, their business,
Hmm.
their idea.
Hmm.
I can immediately give them a potential or a few potential visual ideas, right? And
Yeah,
they say, "Wow, how do you do it so fast?" I just talked about it, and
yeah,
within the same breath came out with the right
correct.
answer.
That's a skill.
It's a
Yeah,
skill
yeah,
I've been in my first year. I do it every day with my own
yeah.
ideas. That's
Correct,
why, yeah, it's a
correct.
learnable skill. Yeah.
Learnable skills. Okay, great. So I think perhaps maybe we can do a part two on this, but right at the moment, I think we have enough information not to overwhelm the audience. I think information on who is Jun Han. We'll put some link below so that people can access to you. First, thank you, Jun Han, for coming and have this chat with us. I wish you all the best for your future, more business to you, more people like yourself surfacing out. Thank you and
Yeah.
so much. And
Thanks for
yeah.
chatting with me about this. I enjoyed our chat today. Thank
Joy.
you so
Okay.
much.
If there's one thing that you want to say to the audience, what would you say? The last one more thing. Yeah. Encourage you.
Uh,
Encouragement, perhaps.
just take one thing, right? There's so many skills, even in my line of work, there are many techniques. Right? Just
Yeah.
take one easiest thing that you can apply and practice and just stick to it for a good enough period of time. And then
Awesome.
you see the results. It's like changing jobs and then you get your probation period of 3 months, 6 months, right? They
Okay.
want to get you in touch with the job before they decide whether you're good for it or not. Same with
Yeah.
skills. You give that particular skill enough time to get into your muscle, right? And then you can judge
Fantastic.
whether it works for you, whether you want to continue or abandon it. So whatever
Wow.
skill it is, give it
That
enough
is
time
so
for
cool.
it to, yeah.
That is very, very good. Okay, we heard that. Very good advice. Okay, one more time. Thank you, Jin Han, for coming in. Hope to see you. We'll contact you again. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. See
Okay, see
you.
you. Bye.